Hey everybody. Instead of Jenny and I giving you a long list of what we've been up to this summer and what's coming up this fall, we thought we would do it this way. And if we like it doing it this way, if you like hearing from us this way, we'll do this on a regular basis. So Jenny, tell me about your summer. What were you up to? What'd you do?
My summer. Wow, I did a lot. This happens all the time. You feel like you're going to get all this stuff done, and then before you know it, you're at the end of August. But I did manage to get a lot done. The big thing was I finished writing and revised my next book that's coming out. That'll be out next spring. And I can't say the title yet because it hasn't been officially announced, and I can't give the release date because I don't yet know it, but it's going to come out, and I finished writing it.
I can confirm that it's really good.
Aw, thank you.
I don't mind saying that.
Thank you. Well, I enjoyed writing it. It was a lot of work. So that was the big thing, and I, let's see, we did some traveling. I had some appearances that were a lot of fun. And I worked on and finished up a presentation that I'm going to be giving this coming school year to schools and to libraries, and I'm really excited about it.
What's the presentation called?
It's called Missions and Motives.
So who's going to get to hear missions and motives first?
Well, it will debut at the Region 20 Library Resource Roundup next month. So, so that should be fun.
All right. And what else are you looking forward to about the fall?
Cooler weather. I'm really looking forward to cooler weather. I love Austin, Texas, but it is very hot and very humid right now. And I'm looking forward to writing something new. So I've been researching and jotting down some ideas, and I look forward to a deep dive on that.
All right. I look forward to seeing you when you make it up from that deep dive.
Right.
Tie a rope around your waist and pull you
I'll
back
try to
out.
remember who you are. So can I ask some questions of you?
Yes.
Okay. So you also did a lot this summer. You did a lot of traveling, did a lot of writing, and a lot of appearances. So rather than sum it all up, can you narrow it down to 3 favorite moments that you could discuss?
Yes. 3 favorite moments. One was in the middle. We went to a family vacation in upper New York State, and one evening toward the end of that vacation, I was sitting on the porch of this cottage with the 4-year-old daughter of my cousin, which would make her my first cousin once removed, and she read to me, or kind of recited from memory, Sharp versus Train, and then to repay her for that, I read her aloud my newest book, 88 Instruments. So that was a lot of fun.
That was a very special moment.
That was the first kid I'd read. Really, so far the only kid I've read it for. And so that was a highlight. That was a highlight. I actually took a break from that vacation to go to the Mazza Museum Summer Conference in Findlay, Ohio, and giving a presentation there was my second favorite moment of the summer. And the Mazza conference goes on. It's a week-long conference. It's been going on for years and years. You have people who go back each and every year, and it meant a lot to me that I got to be there as part of that, but also that I got to debut this new speech, this new presentation, first thing in the week. And my third favorite thing was when I realized around the end of July that the nonfiction project I'd given up for dead at the beginning of July was not dead after all, and I've been going like gangbusters on it ever since.
You have been busy. So this fall, you have a lot of visits lined up, a lot of school visits. I'm going to miss you. But I'm going to be really proud of you, too. And you have many books out.
Yeah.
So how do you focus your presentation? What will you mainly be talking about? Because you have books that have been given a lot of awards recently and made lists, but also you have new books. So what will you mainly be talking about?
I've got a basic presentation that I can kind of sit down one of two directions, either a fiction direction or a nonfiction direction. And if it's fiction, then I'll end up talking about the revision process and showing how, say in the case of Mighty Truck, how much the book changed between the first draft and the finished book, and pointing out some specific ways that I revised, that I rewrote to end up with the book that I just read to them. And if I go down the nonfiction route, say with The Amazing Age of John Roy Lynch, then after I've read them the book, then I'll go into the research process and explain what that actually looked like for this particular project. Sounds
good. So of all the school visits you've done so many. You always leave at the end, because I've seen you in action. Mm-hmm. You're really good. And at the end, you do a Q&A with the young people in attendance.
Yeah.
I bet you get asked some pretty interesting and surprising things. So is there one in particular you could share with us that was especially surprising or interesting?
There was a question I received that was that was an unusual question that was a twist on a pretty common question. Very often I get asked, what is my favorite book that I've written? I explain, I cannot, I tell them, I get that question all the time, but I cannot answer that. It's like asking parents to pick among their children and say, this one's my favorite.
Then they ask, what's your favorite child?
But someone asked me toward the end of the last school year, which book of mine had given me the most satisfaction. And for that, the answer came to me immediately, and that's The Amazing Age of John Roy Lynch, just because I know that as a result of that book having been named to the Texas Bluebonnet Award Master List, you're going to have lots and lots of Texas schools that are reading that book this year, and it means you're going to have a whole generation of kids in Texas that are going to be much more aware of and knowledgeable about Reconstruction and what happened during that time, the truth of what happened during that time, than I ever was, and the most adult Texans I know have ever been. So that makes me feel really good to know that because of this book, these kids are going to be more knowledgeable than I was.
Yeah, good for you. All right, so let me ask you, what have you been reading lately?
What have I been reading?
Yeah.
I've been reading Jacqueline Woodson's Another Brooklyn, which is a novel for adults. The style in which it's written is not too far from what she used for Brown Girl Dreaming, but it is written for adults. It's written from an adult perspective, and it's fantastic. It's she gets so much of a sense of place and a sense of detail out of so few words, and it's good that there are so few words, because I'm not a very fast reader. So this book is tailor-made for me. It packs a whole lot into relatively few words, a lot of space on the page, and I'm loving it. How about you? What are you reading?
I'm going back and I am reading books that kind of fell through the cracks. So what I have discovered is new books come out and I add them to the pile, and I have a lot of friends who are authors and just people I admire, and so I'll read these new books, but there's always going to be some that I never quite get to, and we're talking from years back. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to make a concerted effort to balance it and go back and read some of those books that I missed. And one of the ones I missed that I'm reading now is The Misfits by James Howe. And I'm really loving it. And it's also very timely. There's, in the plot, it centers around a class election. Mm-hmm. So it's been a lot of fun and laugh out loud.
All right. I haven't read that before. I should read that one.
We can trade.
Yeah, let's do that. So is there... One last question for you. Is there anything else that you've done this summer that you're especially proud of or pleased with?
Anything else this summer?
Any household undertakings, any pet-related undertakings?
Okay, yes. This is going to make me look devious. So this is Ernie, if you don't already know. He is part of the family and we love him very much, but he's a dog. and he sheds. He's shedding right now. And we have this new sofa that we like, and we try to keep it clean for guests so that when they sit on it, they're not covered with dog fur. But he thought it was for him. And we would get him off of it, and then we would go into another room, and he'd immediately get back on the sofa. So I realized something. We found out recently that he's afraid of, actually here, there's something he's afraid of.
Bye, Ernie.
I'm sorry,
See you later.
I'm genius. He's afraid of bubble wrap.
It doesn't have to be popped. Basically, if he sees us opening a box that came in the mail, he's out of here.
He runs. So I draped this over the sofa so that he wouldn't sit on it, and it's working. It's working because he doesn't get on the sofa anymore.
Although I think right now he might be going to the spot where this bubble wrap was. We need to wrap it up.
That would serve us right. We do. So I recommend this. It deters pets, but it attracts kids because kids like bubble wrap.
So if you're looking for something that works for both dogs and kids, I got nothing for you. So that's it for this month, and I hope you enjoyed it. I think we enjoyed it, and I imagine we'll do this again about a month from now. So have a good September, everybody. We'll see you later.
Yeah, great new school year.
All right, bye-bye.